I can hear you.
Bill, can you hear us?
Want it live.
Yes, I can.
Imagine, dream up. It's on a platter for you. You have to do nothing.
Whenever you're ready.
As I'm sweating out my third gallon of water.
We have about another 40 seconds.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, sir. That's so cool. That's amazing. Well, you know what? God bless them. I'm happy for anybody that has it like that. Call to order the March 28th meeting of the Indian River County Planning and Zoning Commission. First item of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order, I'm so shocked. Additions and deletions to the agenda, are there any? None? Okay. Approval of the minutes? Have a motion to approve?
There are none.
There are none, okay. Well, yeah, that's right. Consent, first, next item is a consent agenda. It's Fisher property, proposed mangrove trimming, invasive species removal, and plant vegetation within the Jungle Trail Protection Area at 8550 Jungle Trail. And David and Catherine Fisher, owners, applicant. Zoning is RM6 residential, multifamily, up to 6 units per acre. Land use designation L2, low density residential, up to 6 units per acre. And this issue is quasi judicial. So I will turn that over to staff if you have anything to offer. If not, then.
It's on the consent.
Oh, I guess we're gonna vote on this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that's on consent. So if one of the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission want to pull it off consent, they can go ahead and do that.
Anybody
now.
want to pull it off the
Otherwise-
consent agenda?
Otherwise,
No?
if no one
Okay.
wants to pull
Mr.
it
Chair,
off
I move
consent.
to approve the consent item.
Motion to approve by Beth.
I'll second.
Okay, second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Next item is a public hearing. Hope for Families, request for special exception use and major site plan approval for expansion of existing residential treatment center. The Hope for Families Center Incorporated, owners, Carter and Associated, Inc., agents, okay, zoning is CH Heavy Commercial, land use designation CI, Commercial Industrial. This matter is quasi judicial, so anybody who wants to speak on this matter, please stand up and be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
At this point, I'll turn it over to staff for their presentation.
All right, for the record, my name's Brandon Cragen, Chief of Current Development. So, good evening, Chair and members of the board. Before you today is the Hope for Families Special Exception Use Residential Treatment Center. The property is located north of 4th Street, south of 4th Place, east of Old Dixie Highway, and west of US Highway 1. It has a project zoning of CH Heavy Commercial. Just to give you an idea of how the property overlays with the existing conditions on the property. So as for the site plan, there are currently 2 existing buildings, which are Shelters Building 1 and Shelters Building 2. Both of those shelter buildings have a combined 23 units. There is also 1 admin building that is going to be deconstructed as part of this next phase of the development and expanded. There's going to be 2 more Shelter Building 3 and Shelter Building 4, which will culminate in 29 units for a total of 52 units for the whole entire development. There's also going to be 2 parking areas, one to the south along 4th Street and one to the east end of the property that will access from 4th Place. Traffic circulation plan will call for 2 full access driveways, 1 full access driveway to the south along 4th Street, another full access driveway to the northeast along 4th Place. The stormwater plan will call for 1 dry detention area that will be along 4th Street and 1 dry retention area that will be to the northeast of the site. Landscape plan will call for two required 20-foot roadway buffers. One roadway buffer will be along 4th Street. The other roadway buffer will be along 4th Place. This project is within what the county calls the Other Corridor Overlay District. Staff has confirmed through colored elevations that this proposed building expansion will be compliant with all paint colors and roof designs of the Other Corridor Overlay District. Also, as this is categorized in our code as a residential treatment center in the CH zoning district, it must adhere to special land use criteria that are laid out in section 971.28, subsection 6 of our county's land development regulations. Staff confirms that this property complies with all 7 of those special criteria. Those special criteria are explained in detail in the staff report, and there's an explanation for how each criteria is satisfied within the staff report as well. With that, staff recommends that the PZC recommend that the Board of County Commission grant special exception use approval for the Hope for Families expansion with the conditions listed in the staff report. These conditions relate to the construction of a sidewalk along Old Dixie Highway, installation of all perimeter landscape buffers and site lighting, and also the construction of all other improvements indicated on the site plan. I'm available for any questions you may have.
So we're just going to start from right to left. So Chip, do you have any questions?
None at this time.
None? Any questions, Mr. Mucci?
I just wondered why Old Dixie Highway needed a sidewalk and they don't about Old Dixie at all, right?
So as part of the county's improvement to try to extend sidewalk passages, this is just one of the conditions that was put upon the project to help us continue to add to the sidewalk network that we have in the county.
Something to do with the public benefit.
Yes,
Purpose of this permit, correct?
yes.
Any further questions, sir?
I have a couple of questions, if I could, real quick.
Yep.
Before the developer or gets to speak here. In here, one of the required improvements is the 4th Place sidewalk, and it says that it can be bonded out and prior to getting a CO. Are they developing this in different phases? Or is it all at one time? Because if it's all at one time, it doesn't seem to be appropriate to bond something like a sidewalk that has to be done. So I was just for my edification on what they're doing.
I would imagine that they're going to end up constructing the buildings one by one, so this is why the bonding requirement's there, so they can choose to do all of them at once, and if they choose to piecemeal it and do, let's say, residential building number 3 and then number 4 after that, then that's when we would get into the bonding element of the sidewalk.
Because you couldn't get the CO for the first building
Correct, yes.
for that. And that makes perfect sense to me then.
Any further questions? None? This time I'll open the public hearing. Anybody who would wish to come over and speak, please do.
Good evening. My name is John Blum. I'm an engineer with Carter Associates representing the applicant. Have several representatives for Hope for Family, board member, executive director. Just thank you for having us here tonight, and we're here to answer any questions.
Is there any questions you'd like to ask? Anyone? None?
John, the question I asked Brandon down there, you guys planning on doing phases?
Yeah, we
or-
are. I mean, that's a standard option on development to either construct it or bond it if it's not like a high necessity sidewalk.
Right.
So we'll be building that up front. I mean, it was actually a requirement to go down 4th Place, but we didn't have the right-of-way necessary for that, so now we're doing it on Old Dixie, and there's a bus stop there. That's the main
Well,
reason.
one of the things I liked about the design is that the majority of the traffic has to come in off of the back entrance there.
Correct.
Instead of off of Old Dixie. It looks like that's only got a couple of parking places there for admin or something.
Yeah, for staff. Yeah.
For staff and things. So I thought that was well done to be able to move that traffic around to the backside and have that flow through there.
That's it.
Todd, I'm done. I thought it was well done.
Any other questions? None? Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you very
sir. I
much.
appreciate it, sir. Would anybody else like to come forward and speak? Okay, none. At this point, I'm going to close the public hearing. Is there any other questions of staff?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the item.
I have a motion in front of me to approve.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Next item on the agenda will be Commissioners' Matters. Are there any? None? Planning Matters?
I do have one. So eventually, we will be moving to the Granicus system for all of our boards, so that will include plan and zoning. That's the system that the Board of County Commission uses for their agenda items. So with that, all the agenda items will eventually be digitized, so we won't be doing hard copies anymore. And we're trying to figure out if we're gonna do iPads or if we're gonna do laptops, but we're trying to make it easier for you guys to be able to access those digital documents via either an iPad or a laptop. So we'll keep you apprised when we do go full-fledged into this. It probably won't be by the next meeting, but it is gonna come soon.
Well, what I would ask of all the commissioners that are present, I think all of us can afford to hit the button on our printers at home and print the pages.
I get an email already, so.
And save the county the money for a computer or an iPad, which I'm sure could be used better somewhere else.
Lisa, will you
Attorneys'
take me
matters.
off of the list for delivery? And I'll go ahead and print and do that.
And I will also.
The only advantage, of course, is the big size.
Yeah, I've got.
I'm sure somewhere in those coffers, you can afford a good printer. It'll help our county a little bit.
If not, title will change it, 27 cents a page.
If not, I'll bring you one. How's that sound, my friend? Perfect, done.
Thank you.
Attorneys' Matters.
I have none, sir.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
10 minutes and 39 seconds.
Thank you.